The definition of depression is this: a mental health disorder characterized by persistently depressed mood or loss of interest in activities, causing significant impairment in daily life. But for a second, let's take away the word disorder and view it in a different light. Let's view it from the perspective of how it could have come about to help us. Why might people commonly have the capacity for depression? How could a loss of interest in activities causing the halting of the irregular behavior of a person be beneficial? How could it be beneficial to suffer? Now, the exact details about what caused depression are not known, but something generally seen to be a common symptom of depression is that a person is dealing with their life experiences in a way that causes them to go into a state of remission from the world. Let's say a hunter-gatherer experiences something hard and goes into a state of remission from the world. They don't feel like doing anything. That would be dangerous, right? After all, it's important that people are able to fulfill their role in society in order to help sustain the group. So how could going into a remission be helpful? Well, the reason I'm going to propose is exactly that. It's important that people are able to fulfill their role in society. How does the halting of regular activities help a person fulfill their role in society? I hear you asking. Well, let's start off by identifying some common underlying beliefs of people that are depressed. People who are depressed commonly think that they are essentially worthless and out of control in some way. People might tell them they're important, and other people might think that they're extraordinarily competent, but that often doesn't matter. What matters is that they believe that they are worthless and out of control. Where does this, often very persistent, belief stem from? Well, it stems from the belief that people have worth that can be gauged in some way to begin with. In other words, they base their value as a person off of things that aren't even necessarily a part of being human. So, how can withdrawing from the things a person bases their worth off of be helpful? Wouldn't that make them just feel more worthless? I mean, think about it. The hunter-gatherer who is too lazy to hunt or gather. Well, oftentimes the best way to get out of a mindset of gauging self-worth off of something is to live without it for a while. The best thing we can do for people struggling through this process is to provide a good, caring, accepting, respectful community environment. What even is the point of changing their mindset? Why would it be bad to gauge worth off of things? I mean, hunting is important, right? What else is there? Big hunters rule, right? Right? Well, hunter-gatherers didn't think so. In fact, they often shamed people for acting as though their hunting skill made them worth more than others, and they expected humility among everyone in the group. Anthropologist Christopher Boehm, who studied hunter-gatherers directly, saw this and proposed the theory that hunter-gatherers maintained equality through a practice that he labeled reverse dominance. Why? Why is it bad to be a hunter-gatherer who bases their worth off of their kills? It comes down to the fatal flaw of judging worth in this way: a lack of care and respect for others and oneself intrinsically as humans. People who judge human worth based on specific criteria often view people stripped of everything but their humanity to be inherently worthless or not worth as much as someone else. Based on evolution, the most reasonable explanation for not judging people based on specific criteria is that in human society, care and respect for others and oneself, especially with diversity in skill, experiences, and pursuit, has proven to be more important than the ability to achieve anything in particular. Creativity rules. In other words, we are designed to have depression in order to free us from attributing too much worth to any standard. By doing nothing, caring about nothing, and often feeling pain from comparing ourselves to a standard for a period of time, we are separating ourselves from basing worth off of things in order to allow the freedom of pursuit of things we might not see the point of, but that actually benefit us as individuals and as a society. This fosters creativity, acceptance, freedom, and individuality in our species. In his book Feeling Good, David Burns has commented several times on the personal growth he sees people experience after getting past depression. When talking about the strong suffering associated with depression, David Burns stated in his book, and I quote, "Its only redeeming value is the growth you experience when you recover from it," unquote. In my opinion, depression is one of the reasons that in a human society, it is important that people who are part of the society all possess a large degree of freedom. If people possess a large degree of freedom, then when people go into depressed moods, things aren't amplified by external expectations from others and internal expectations ingrained into the person by society. These expectations promote the idea that something is wrong with the person for not choosing to do specific things or be specific ways. Hence, labeling depression, which a large percentage of people experience, a so-called disorder with the person. With suicide rates rising and mental health among young people getting worse despite increasing importance placed on mental health care, I think it's important we examine this matter intensely. I strongly believe that various kinds of psychotherapy can help individuals achieve great personal growth. Things like self-exploration, cognitive therapy, hypnosis, bibliotherapy, and medicinal drugs are all great ways to help people change themselves as people if they choose to do so. However, what I think is more important is that we look less at changing the individual exhibiting a behavior, and we look more at changing the society and culture that the individual is developing in that leads an increasing number of people to exhibit that same behavior. In my opinion, statistics based on scientific studies mean something, and in my opinion, examining them to determine what needs to change is absolutely vital to helping a society improve in ways that most people would probably find beneficial. I personally have found the work of Peter Gray, Prince E.A., Daniel Greenberg, and Jason J. Gallant to be very helpful when it comes to understanding depression and the possible causes of its rise. Thanks for watching. As always, the comments are a place for free discussion. See you next week.